As a composer, performer, and scholar, I am interested in working experimentally with sound so as to refigure this world, to think with the unknown and to follow the impossible. You just heard a brief excerpt from my solo record called When You're a Star. And I recorded this record while I was living during the pandemic for a brief period, again, back in Switzerland. And it is recorded in quite a unusual way. So you saw an image of something maybe you could recognize it's wood, something wooden with a hole. So this is actually a mask. And I attached a Zoom recorder on top of this mask and then put the mask on my head. And the Zoom recorder would be right here in front of my face. Then I use this technique that I developed, which is to put a symbol on top of my head and then use my left hand to create notes on the symbol, as well as my skull or the shape of my head, and then bow it with the other hand. This record was inspired by my long time interest in thinking in an Afrofuturist, we could say, way, which is also to say in thinking with sound as also space, and sort of like to use it as a space-time travel technology and also space-time creation technology. If I have this little string, it touches the violin or cello string somewhere, and this little rubber band or string or twist tie then through its soft touch creates something like a note, a very faint note. But at the same time, you can still hear the fundamental or the larger sound of the string. This way, you have kind of like a hint to a second voice. Now you can enhance that by playing in a certain way, or you can not enhance it as much. And so you have these gradations of multiple voices at once. And at the same time, if you think about it in terms of ring modulation, what is happening is that you have some indifference tones. That is to say that the voice of the rubber band and the finger meet, and they create new frequencies. They create the addition of each other and also the subtractions of each other. So then you have many voices, and depending on how you play your bow or which frequencies it is, different amounts of voices or extra frequencies are there, and they also behave in different ways. And so this piece is an exploration of thinking these every instant as a space, and also how can we create a space music out of 4 instruments that is maybe hyperdimensional, we could say. So I took this idea further, this idea of space-time traveling during the pandemic, because it was actually very interesting that what it allowed me to have to work with distancing concerts or online concerts is that I was certainly thinking about the space of the music through a digital realm more. And of course, that has a lot of limitations, but it also has certain affordances that is to say, certain things that are easier to do than in a physical space, right? Because you can control certain parameters more easily. And what I then did for this piece for Issue Project Room is I created artificial, I call them virtual spaces or virtual acoustic spaces, because what I did is I created acoustic rooms, so reverbs, if you will, out of my both cymbals. The same technique, maybe sometimes not on my head, but nonetheless similar techniques. I selected portions or moments, very short moments, like less than a second. So out of these cymbal recordings or samples less than a second, I created a reverb. And this reverb then is within which musicians get to play music, I myself included. Now, that was interesting, but then I was like, maybe, you know, since I have so many and since I'm interested in having this space travel idea, why not let them travel? So I created a sort of like a game-like looking thing where you have a red dot, a little bit like Pac-Man it looks, and you move around and you have these circles. And you basically spatializing the sound while you move through this reverb, bringing out different shades of the reverb. And I decided, okay, since you can do that, you can have multiple spaces. So you can have something like a galaxy, and you can travel to different planets. So, of course, these space ideas, I continued actually thinking and working on this, and I developed a new paradigm, we could say, of working with this idea of space traveling and space-time traveling. And I created a work for the phenomenal, incredible, and my absolute longtime heroes as well, the Sun Ra Orchestra, as you can see right behind me. And it will be premiered on November 5th, and you can see the score online, and also then you will see it at the concert. And the Sun Ra Orchestra will take us on a journey through this virtual cosmos or universe. I'd like to thank everyone at Composers Now for making the Impact series happen. Maybe I'll see you on November 5th, and thank you for listening.